Hello, welcome to Easy 8's Online Painting Club. My name's Danny, it says it right down there at the bottom of the screen. I can see that Leslie's joined us already. I'm sat here slightly exasperated because if you're watching this live, you will know that this is the second attempt at trying to do episode 128, as for some reason there seemed to be a critical error on my computer. I don't know what happened. It's been many years since we've had a problem like that. The camera stopped working and it shut down everything that I was able to do on the streaming software, and I'm so sorry I had to start it all over again. Anyway, if you're new here, please do subscribe to the show. If you like what we do, we're not a tutorial show or anything like that. We're somewhere where you can come along and paint your collection of minis to make some good company with the guys over here in the live chat. It's probably going to take everyone a few minutes to realise what it is that we're doing. I'll put a video up on Facebook so that you can kind of find out the trauma and and just basically try and get back to YouTube and find out. Find the link to the show. Yeah, I don't know what happened there. My camera just stopped working and then I wasn't able to interact with the program at all, so I had to shut it all down and start all over again. But you know, this is the trials that are sent to us when we do live streams. It's not a recorded show, so you get to see everything raw, rough and ready. So yeah, here we go. If you like what we do, spread the word, share it with some friends, thumbs up to the video down there, because this is a separate show now to the other one, and what I'm going to have to do is later on is maybe I'll get rid of the other bit and then I'll put all the funky graphics and thumbnail on this one and upload it and save the show later on. I can see that we've got a couple of people coming into the live chat now. Stafford's there. Yeah, you got you. Hi guys, thanks for coming to find me again. I genuinely don't know what that was all about. It was something to do with the camera. It's a new camera and I'm still kind of like ironing out all the kinks and things in there. I had to pull the cable out the back of it, put it back in. It just, yeah. A show without that camera is just me sitting here talking to you, and no one wants that. So yeah, please do like the show, subscribe it, thumbs up, all those things, even though I'm clearly not very good. Please. Anyway, what I was saying, that Dave's back. Yeah, hi guys, thank you so much. So sorry. What I was trying to say is thanks, John, for coming and finding the time during your time zone. I'm going to take you over to the workbench now and hopefully check the camera. You can see my monitors on in the background. Hopefully the camera's working. If not, I'm just going to carry on and hopefully we can all enjoy our painting. Here we go. Things are looking good. Here comes my hand. Oh, tell me you can see that. Tell me you can see that. Yeah, here we go. Cool, brilliant. So that's my gargoyle. This isn't the one that I painted last week because that's not a lot of work for the 2 hours I spent last week. This is the one that I did last week. He is so cool. So let me just did someone just throw a heart at me? I saw a heart float across my screen then. I saw that. Thanks very much. If you just push the heart button, I don't even know what it does. Anyway, here's my gargoyle. Let me zoom in a little bit. Oh yeah, the camera's working now. You are blurry. I am blurry. We can see that. You are blurry. Hopefully I'm not that blurry. Kill it. It's a hand. Hopefully I'm not too blurry. I don't understand why it is blurry. I am getting some hearts going in there. Are people just hitting the hearts thing now? Is that something that's going on? Anyway, I'm so confused. I'm so disorientated. I can see just hearts flickering away, and I don't know if it's just doing that to kind of drag my attention down there. You can't see what I'm looking at. So basically on my screen I can see all my sound bars, I can see all the buttons and everything that I want to push. The live chat's on the side, and then there's like a little heart icon and it covers over a lot of the words that you guys are talking about. And it's just flashing away and firing lots of hearts at me. I don't know what that's all about. No, that's not you guys, is it? Anyway, this is the leather. I call it leather, but it's wings really, isn't it? The wings that I painted for my gargoyle last week. Actually getting the gargoyle yellow, the bony colours, the chitin plates on the back here. It's a fairly well rehearsed routine for me, and they're only halfway done, but I could probably get that finished tonight. So the hearts are us. It is you. You deserve all the hearts. Thank you so much. Why you guys give me all the hearts? The show's awful today. I pressed it on like 1 million hearts and now flying. Thank you very much. Hopefully I'm not blurry. Hopefully that's just like, like a catching up thing. On my screen it looks very, very clear. Anyway, I redid this wing thing last week. I did it on the show. I was actually really happy with it, and I was trying to, as you can see, Hopefully it's not too shiny. You can see that there's some like red patches. I've kept those red patches sort of around the damage on the wings because these are great sculpts for our older sculpts. They got like damage like bullet holes and tears and things like that. And I just kind of wanted to, you know, sort of enhance them, bring them out a little bit, bring a bit of attention to them, and make them look like they were bloody or they were sore because they've been damaged or something like that. Are the black spots on the wings scratches? Yes. So if I zoom in even further, because I've got the dial to do that now, if I do this, you should be able to see black dots. You can see my fingers behind them. Yeah, so they're actually like holes that are going through. And what I've done is just kind of like, I used a bit of crimson shade from Citadel, which is, I'm going to be honest with you, Games Workshop, an awful paint to use. But it looks good when you get it right. I use it by brush on brains and things like that, because it's quite good to use on that. And then I was trying to do it by brush on these things. And the problem was that I had at the end of last week's show is that it was leaving a really bad like tea stain or coffee staining. You know, those little tide marks that you get when using paints that dry very quickly. And I couldn't get rid of it. So I was on at the end of last week's show, right afterwards, on the Easy 8 after party, trying to get it right this time, on Discord, talking with a couple of the guys over there after the show, and I just couldn't get it right. So I took the time and went back over it. So I went back in with some primer colours. I went in with the flesh colour that I used, did all the washing all over again. It didn't take all that long, and then I got the crimson shade in the airbrush, and it's really hard to use because it wants to come flying out all over the place. You're dead on about the crimson shade, not a fan. Beautiful colour, really hard to work with because of that tiding, that tide staining, tea staining, whatever you want to call it. Coffee rings, you know what I mean. Leaves like a permanent marker style line in your effect. If it wasn't for that, it'd be brilliant. So anyway, putting it through the airbrush is just hard work. So it was just patience, really, and a lot of paint used. But whatever, I got there. It's a little shiny, you can see, because I decided I was going to gloss varnish them. I wanted to varnish it before I got into any work, so I could, like, you know, rub the mistakes out with a wet brush if I wanted to. I'm going to hit them all with a matte. I'm actually going to do them probably in a satin varnish, and you know, play around with different types of what do you call it? Like, not effects, but finishes is the word. Anyway, what I want to do is see how quickly I can do these. That I'm probably going to do next week, and I am like now about half an hour behind on the show. I will run over for it as well. I want to see, I've got a different idea to get a different effect on the wings, and I want to try that as an experiment tonight, which is what the other one is for. I've kind of you know, trimmed them all up and sanded all the mold lines down, etc. But I want to try a different filter on the wings. Once I've got that, I'm going to do 10 of these bad boys. If this guy's already done, that's 9 more to do. The idea is to see if I can smash them out really quickly. What's taken me time in the past of doing my Tyranids is painting the effects on the carapace, doing all the little lines and things. But these gargoyles, because of their wings and stunted other limbs, have a massive reduction in the amount of carapace plates that I need to do. Normally I'd have the back plate, the head plate, the legs with their shins and their arms and huge weapons and whatever. But these are going to be much easier to do because it's literally here and here. That's all I have to worry about, and a little bit on the guns, but you know, whatever. So I think that generally the lack of other limbs made up for by the wings should mean that I get through them pretty quickly. So for the next few weeks, that's what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to quickly prime this bad boy in a minute, let that dry, and I'm going to basically switch between the two. Going to zoom out a little bit here because we don't need to be in so close anymore. Here we go. I am aware that with the camera it feels like it's ever so slightly out of focus. This doesn't have a focus setting on this camera. One of the advantages of it being a webcam, it just needs to be lifted up a bit, as it has a very, very good depth of field. So it means that it can... it's one of those cameras that's really good for like people who do YouTube, where a lot of it's on their face and it blurs the background out, and it basically gives the impression of being a much more expensive camera. It just means that I can't adjust the autofocus on it. It doesn't exist, so I've just got to physically lift it up. I just haven't really had the time to do that. Anyway, I'm gonna put this guy over here for a minute, and I'm gonna get some stuff on him. So John says, the last time I used it, I had to do a lot of feathering to blend the edges. I tried that, John. If you've got any ideas on on how to do. I don't know. I tried feathering it out, but I couldn't get rid of that coffee stain. I just couldn't do it. If you've got some sort of magical version of it, maybe mine's just an old paint. I don't know. Like as soon as it went down, it just went. Here's a ring, and I couldn't. Gosh, I couldn't get rid of it. It was infuriating. Anyway. Not as infuriating as your camera not working and having to restart the show. It is a professional get up here, I promise. Anyway, I'm going to turn my compressor on for my airbrush. I'm going to get some primer. This time I'm not going to use the grey like I did last week because, do you know what? Last week was a bit of a disaster. If anything else bad happens on the show, I'm going to count this as a disaster as well. Sometimes things go wrong, but I broke my nippers. Now, I'm going to admit, in all honesty, that while I was quite calm and collected about that, that was a deliberate move. Inside, I can assure you, I was screaming. Alright. I'm not a screamy, angry, shouty kind of a person. Maybe my friends will disagree with that. On the show, I do try to moderate a certain amount of control. Inside was a bad day. Anyway, on the Wazomatic here, just for you, Stafford. There you are, mate. Just giving that surface primer a good old shake up while the airbrush warms up in the background. Here we go. It's already got, as you can see, a lot of white on him, so it doesn't need like masses and masses. That was just how he was done. I'm gonna now the stem's already been removed from this guy. That's how I broke my nippers last time. Airbrush isn't working now. Come on. Let's not be a nuisance, eh? There we go. I did clean it at the end of last week, especially a bit gummed up inside. So I broke my nippers last week because I was trying to cut the plastic stem out. Just totally forgetting that for some reason the plastic that makes up the clear plastic bases is just rock hard. It's been such a long time since I've done anything with flying bases or that clear plastic bases. I just didn't even register it in my mind, and that's what I was pushing in, like, trying to get that biting in with the cutters. I was like, God, this is a bit hard. And then I watched the end of it ping away. I still haven't found it, but it disappeared. Jeff's found us. Hi, Dad. Yeah, I had to pull the cord on the other show. I'm so sorry. I made a little video, put it on Facebook. If anything ever happens to a live show and it just looks like it goes dead, I'm probably over Facebook going, I'm so sorry. So yeah. Oh, what's John said? Use a tiny amount of isopropyl alcohol on a cotton bud. Have to be careful not to pull up the paint at the same time. That's not a bad shout. I might have a go at that. If I experiment on this fella and it's not a colour that I like, I'll obviously have to go back to the other one to make him match in. I might have a quick test with that as an idea. I've got a whole litre of IPA over here. Isopropyl alcohol, yeah, not Indian Pale Ale. I think I need to make that quite clear. There's a couple of people in the show who live locally to me and they do a nice IPA at the pub. You don't want to drink isopropyl alcohol. It's bad for you. Very bad. Yeah, sorry to anybody who has taken all that time to find me. I just had to start again. And just at the right time I ran out of paint. That's good. I'm going to put a little bit of cleaner through there. It has been cleaned, just a bit gummed up inside. Might have to give the needle a bit of a once over perhaps. I did a lot of painting after the show last week, so I did a lot of cleaning afterwards. Just get a little bit of residue in there and it just gums up. Just cut the compressor. I don't want that just making unnecessary heat in the background. Excuse me. The one thing I didn't get a chance to do was to actually glue a skewer under the other gargoyle, but like I say, that's just going to be a tester for tonight. So while that's drying over there, let's get rid of that primer, clean up the desk a little bit. I think I just want to get on to doing the grey on him. Now you can see that I've done all the bone around the outside of the wings, on his tail, on his little leggy legs here. So what I'm going to do today is I'm just going to concentrate on getting the carapace looking smart. I'm gonna start on the back rather than the head, just because it's easier, bigger, you know, than the other parts. Here we go. What colour am I going to use? So I started with Dawnstone, separate a little bit there. I did it the other day. That's the base colour. And then I've gone in with a little bit of Nuln Oil. Nuln Oil's good. It's much better recipe nowadays. Really easy to control. But actually, for the size of a gaunt, to keep it speedier in the future, I might just use black paint and paint that in by hand. Because being a wash, Nuln Oil is very watery, so it takes longer to dry for the similar or same effect. So, what I need to do is find my dark greys. Here we go, Eshin grey. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to feather that black into the slightly lighter grey that's on there. Going to give this a shake. Get ready, Safford. It's coming. It's about a 12-second delay. I'm not going to give you that long. You need to anticipate this. Here it comes. 3, 2, 1. Wazomatic. Got to give your paints a good stir. Got to give them a good mix. Oh, I can't believe all the stresses and problems we're having sometimes with the show. I get this a live show, but sometimes I just want to do a professional kit. You know, one day I'm going to do a show and it's just going to be YouTube material. It's going to make all those top-end channels out there look at me go, oh, what a guy. And it will be a sight to behold, and you'll be proud to be watching it live, and everything will go well. And that day is not today or last week. What can you do, eh? I don't mind it. It looks a bit shabby. It's the fun nature of it, right? Armchair material. It's a club. Get over it. Also, when I did start up the second time, the intro music still wasn't there, so that's disappeared somewhere. Gonna have to try and find that wherever it's gone. Normally had that little sting with the, you know, the guitar. Easy A. No, it's gone. Makes me wonder if the jazz music in the intermission is going to be there. If not, do feel free to play your own jazz music. But jazz only, please. And then let me know what jazz music you were listening to. It's like an audience participation. Okie dokie, here we go. So, I've got a cheat leg. Let's sort that out. Not going to start on the top plate because there's no shading up there. All I'm going to do here is, this is my small paintbrush as it is, yeah, cool. Is just going to feather in, a little bit shiny, hard to see. Just going to feather in this black line. Take my time. Just going to offload a lot of the paints on. There's quite a bit of paint on it. And what this is doing is it's helping create the illusion of depth that gradually, you know, goes down to black, but it's also just breaking up the stark contrast between that light grey and the black. Trying to not be so precious about it. It doesn't have to be this massively spectacular thing that makes you go, oh wow, look at all the lines he's painted into there. I just need it to soften up the contrast. And maybe if the black lines come out really far, push it back a little bit. Now, if I go crazy with this colour as well and go all the way down to the bottom of the paint, I can come in with the old colour and go back over it, so no big deal there either. This is the thing that I need to practice and get faster. So excuse me if I go quiet for a minute, please. Thank you very much. Wazomatic, I need to get it printed on my hoodie. Please do. Extra points for a tattoo. Just ran out of paint. make sure I'm in the shot there. Jazz flute. Yeah, man. Only if you pronounce the J as a soft J. Jazz flute. Anchorman reference for you if there's any fans in the crowd today. It's one of my favourite films. Okay, I'm pretty happy with that on that side. Moving on to the other side. I feel that I'm starting to get through it a little bit faster. I think a lot of it is just the guts to not worry so much. It doesn't have to be perfect. Cool. More water on the brush. Wet down that grey paint. Bit of water really helps make that paint flow. I know you're probably all sick of hearing two thin coats, but the difference between an amateur and a pro, and I'm not a pro, so I don't know what I'm doing wrong. I'd love some Waz stickers to decorate my Vortex mixer. I will make that a thing. That I will do that. Danny, do you ever use a wet palette? Just curious, these summer temperatures dry out my dry palette so fast. Yeah, I love a wet palette actually. I've got one. It's just really big. My partner bought me one as a present when we first got together, and she didn't really know what to kind of buy me. Many years ago now. It's a really big one. It's not like a state-of-the-art Red Grass Games one or anything like that. It's actually quite a more budgetable one. Budget one. It does the job just as fine, and it took me a little bit of practice to get used to it, and I absolutely love it. It's just, it takes up a lot of space on the worktop, and yeah, I need to find myself a smaller one, probably from Red Grass Games, because they're nice, they are. I'm not going to go as far as say some of the best in the world, because the last time I said that about Red Grass Game stuff, my nippers broke. So yeah, yes, buy one, have a go. It's worth a go, isn't it? And do you know what? It gets hot in this studio too, and I think that it would be worth me probably putting my finger out, tidying up my workbench, and getting out my old one, or getting a new wet palette. Cool. Do you know, there's even a part of me that wonders if I even need to do this dark grey, like maybe the contrast works, I don't know. Anyway, going to clean my brush out. Don't know what I've done on my tissue paper. Where's it gone? There it is. Sip of tea. Happy Friday, everybody. Isn't it good that it got better? Leslie's saying Badger. Are you talking about a Badger brand of wet palette? No, this is an even cheaper local art store job. It's the thin bit of plastic. It does the job. If you seal it, it'll dry out, because I don't think it makes a proper seal like a proper lunchbox style one would. But for a session of an evening, it will last all day. It's really, really good. I understand completely. My first wet palette is the size of 2 magazines put together width-wise. It's massive. Yeah, 2. That's almost like, it's like A2 or A1, right? That's like newspaper size. That is huge. Mine's probably like A4 size-ish, which is still too big. I only need it to be, you know, small in that top window up here, like probably something like that sort of big. I don't need it to be much more than that. Yeah. Anyway, back to Dawnstone, because this is the original grey that I used. As you can see, it needs a bit of a shake-up. Here we go, Stafford. Waz. Leslie says it was more your butchering of budgeting comment. Okay, Badger is a brand of paint stuff. I don't know if they make wet palettes. I know that they do airbrushes. I was just trying to work it out. Yeah, it's quite a job trying to do a live show. And you're right, I butchered it. You're absolutely right. I like the wet palette from Army Painter, says Kez. Ooh, cool. Do you know what? I haven't used it. Probably exactly the same sort of thing. Just Red Grass Games. So hard to say. It's supposed to be a brand that is really, really good, but the nippers do explode on see-through plastic. And no Stafford, no Dave, not knickers. Yeah, I saw the comment. Just chose to ignore it at the time. She said it the other day as well. But how infuriating was that? Really infuriating is the answer. Right, touch of water in that paint. Here we go. That's too much water. Okay, let's dry out the brush. All I'm doing on this one is just neatening up any areas where that dark grey's gone in. Shiny light, it's quite hard to see sometimes. Not really an awful lot of cleaning up that needs to be done here, because I've managed to get quite a nice effect on that first go. By using the shape of the brush and kind of just touching down on it, I'm kind of getting that sort of pattern that goes in there, and it looks like the pattern's leaving like lines and streaks, which is what I like to see. So actually I'm going to leave that top one there, doesn't need it. Might, neaten up the edge a little bit maybe. On the second plate here, just trying to push that dark grey back up a little bit, because I want to come in with a highlight grey and I don't want it to be too close to each other. There we go. Same on this plate here. Pushing the dark grey back up. Got some little spines going down his back here, so just touching up with a little bit of grey, just to make them stand out a little bit. Nice, nice, nice! And now finally I'm going to come in with some of the really light grey that I've got, which is Administratum Grey. Just have to double check the name there. It's a really bright grey. I'm going to give that a try. Not even trying, Stafford. Do you know what? I'm going to give you like about 12 seconds, read out Jeff's comment, and then here we go, here we go. Just working on another Vietnam vignette like I did for Gringo 40. Little Buddha in between a couple of giant fig trees for showing off your minis. That sounds really nice. Here we go, Stafford, 3 seconds. If you've got a photo of that, Jeff, I'd love to see it on Facebook. Here we go. Not even trying. Lackluster. Little Buddha between a couple of giant fig trees. So my Tyrannocytes are really small, like 1/4-ish size of what they should be. Could you use them for like what are the bigger spore mines called? I can't remember what they're called. Mucilid spores. You could use them for that, right? How many have you made? Hopefully just the one. You made lots, didn't you? Okay, here we go. Some light grey on the palette over here. Going to add a little bit of water in there, and what I'm going to do is just do some highlights along the edges of the carapace, and then start doing some lines in, and hopefully, being the high contrast light paint, we should be able to draw a little bit of attention to the kind of the lines. I call it striations. I don't know if that's the right word, or even if it is a word, but just kind of make it look like the split parts of a carapace. The fingernail effect, or the toenail effect, I think Jeff called it some time ago. which is gross, by the way. But he's absolutely right. In the background, you might be able to hear my cat at the door. For some reason, he's super sad that he's not in here today. He's never allowed in here. Since the show has started, even my partner has sent me a text message on my phone going like, Dax is outside your door, mewing, he sounds really sad. He's not allowed in here because he eats the models. And his sister pees on the floor, and then cat fur gets everywhere. Leslie says, I've made 2 because I'm special. 2's not bad though, for the quarter of the size. Good night, gents. I have an appointment I must attend. See you all next week. Thanks for coming along, staff. Hope you stay well. Take it easy, bud. See you later. Oh, and Leslie said, similar. There we go. Lovely. Thanks for coming along. Here we go. So, just going to start over this edge here. I might even get out one of my teeny tiny brushes for this. So... do you know what? I'm just gonna do it. I can see that it's gonna be a slight problem. The model's just so teeny that I think it would just be better if I did. Where is it? Is it this one? It looks like no, not that one. There he is, right there. Teeny tiny brush. The problem with having such a smaller brush is there's not a lot of belly to the bristles, so you're having to fill it up again with a lot of paint as time goes on more frequently. I'm actually holding my breath and I need to stop that. Oh, frustrating when the paint doesn't come off the brush, but you know what? Just load it up and keep on going, right? My lights are a little bit on the glary side. Let's put that way. There's a lot of reflection going on in here, and I can't see where the lighter paint needs to go. There's a few nicks and things like that in the edges of this carapace, which I'll try and highlight in a minute, but it's a very small model, and it doesn't need to have that amount of detail on there. Now, someone on a Tyranid forum on Facebook one day said, wow, all the effort you've done on your horde creatures with all those lines on the carapace made me initially very proud that I've done this very cool thing, but the fact that I was getting a bit of attention for it made me realise that it was probably a bit of a silly move and that I need to, you know, not do so much effort with my carapaces. As you can see already, this is the bit that's taking me loads of time. I'm desperately trying to find that right amount of water to paint ratio. Holding the Tyranid is quite hard. It's suddenly quite warm in here now. Which is a little bit weird. Don't really know what's going on there. Oh, I know. It's the monitor behind me. It chucks out an insane amount of heat. But if I turn it off, my computer might do a glitch, and I just can't face having to do another video. You guys deserve better. I like to do like a little centre line, but I've absolutely faffed that up. Mostly because I didn't clean this model up enough with like sanding and things. So in a minute, I'm just going to come in with a bit of that mid-grey and just neaten that little central line up. Leslie saying that it's looking brilliant. Thank you very much, mate. Just need to be a bit better with cleaning up the models. This one was a bit of a rush when I was very busy last week. Cool. Come on, Danny, you can do better than this. Let's go, 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 go. Needs a bit more water, perhaps. Struggling with the consistency. Maybe for that bit I need to use a bigger belly brush, but for picking up the outlines, perhaps the smaller one's better. No. Okay, do you know what? I'm going to switch back to the other brush because I just don't think this is holding enough. Gonna need more paint. Used up a lot of that. Washed it all away. Ooh. Oh, that monitor is chucking out so much heat. Stop here. Okay, here we go. Next plate down. That's faster, isn't it? It's better. Okay, cool. Oh, the actual cocktail stick or the skewer that I've got is just a little bit too long for my hand, but never mind. Okay, getting somewhere, getting somewhere. How are your projects getting on this evening? Are you all having a better time than I am? Jeff says, looking good, mate. Almost as nice as the ones I made from wire and paper years ago. They were a bit rough. They were excellent though. So they were flying Hormagaunts, so they had different stats. Back in like 5th edition or something, you could add like different biomorphs, they called them, to various different units. And one of the things that you could have was wings. And while gaunts are, that's like a genus, like a wide genus of Termagant, which is the shooty one, Hormagaunt, which is the claws one, like the up close and nasty one. Then you get the Gargoyles, which are the flying ones. Even though there's already a flying Gaunt, the Gargoyle, you could have flying Hormagaunts, and I love them. They just don't do them anymore in the rules. And I suppose there's something to be said for simplifying everything, isn't there? Do you need everything to be interchangeable, thingy, whatever? And of course, if you do that, you've got to write the rules for it as a game. And if they're not being used very much in listings, then are you wasting your time as a games designer, manufacturer? Then probably, yeah. I get it. Do I have the time to make the rules myself? No. Use what they've got. I still have them. The physical models where you made paper wings for them for me. They were great. They were also terrifying. They were really, really good. I don't know why they ever got ousted. I will never understand. Found a good paint consistency now, so I'm just going back over everything I've already done, just making sure that some nice striations. Gonna have to neaten up that top plate with some mid-grey, like I said earlier, but that's not going to stop me from trying to put some nice little lines and stuff on it now. There we go. Back plates are done. A little bit rough and ready, but I'll get better at it, I suppose, as time goes on. Do I want to do some mid-toning on the head? Probably. Let's do that quickly now. I'm going to go for break in a minute. I know that the show itself has not been running for that time, but I've been in here running a show in that time. But I just kind of feel like I want to get this bit done before we go to break, and then it means I can try and catch up in a minute. So I'm going back to the dark grey. That's Eshin grey here. Put a lump of that down there. It doesn't need to be an awful lot, it's only a tiny little head space. Bit of water into that paint. The Null Noise has actually done a very good job on the head. It's kind of just ran into all the perfect places in the perfect amount, really. It looks really nice. But again, just going to break up that harsh contrast just in a couple of places here. Do it properly there? Yep, I did. Okay, cool. Could do a little bit on the gun as well while I'm at it, couldn't I? Quite difficult to get under the wing, so I'm just kind of slapping on the colour really, and I can neaten it up in a little bit. That's the plan here. Oh, it's John going. Gonna have some Father Time Son painted done this week. Okay, got to cut out early. My son is flying home for the week, so I have to run some errands before heading up the airport to pick him up. See you later, John. Thank you very much. Have yourself a great weekend. I'm going to be very busy tomorrow, but as the week goes on, I've got a few days off, which is going to be lovely. Thanks for coming along and supporting the show. He's got his own show. It's called Out This World Models and Minis, and everyone who is here now and later should definitely go check out his channel because it's nice to show some love back. John's always been a staunch supporter of Easy 8. So I support his channel. Go and check him out, it's cool. Cool. That dark grey done. Going to come in and neaten it up with a little bit of Dawnstone. The middle grey. Go. Just checking both sides to make sure that I'm kind of painting equally, which I've just realised I'm not. What I mean by equally is kind of just trying to follow the pattern on both sides, so that from one side it doesn't look too different. You know what I mean. Right, just neaten up that little bit of light grey that I did just here. It's looking kind of terrible, frankly. That's better. A lot of my problems, I think, are actually this brush. It doesn't have the best bristles. It's a very good brush, but I think this one has like almost a fault in it. A couple of the bristles aren't the right length and they're a little bit unruly, and I can see them kind of bunching up now. Might need to replace this brush so that I can get some better results moving forwards. That was manager speak that I just used there. Did you hear that? I've been managing all day. I've been doing a lot of line manager stuff at work. Yeah, corporate Danny came out there. Don't like that. So sorry. Moving forwards. Who's got time for that nonsense, eh? Moving forwards. I used it today as well. It was a legitimately placed sentence. Just sorry, it sounds so rubbish. Just want to get some dark. Do you know what? I was going to put some dark green in there again, but it's such a small model. I just need to learn to not be precious. That's progress for me. That is. Yeah, it's hot in here again. So, some more paint down because it's drying so quick. It's the monitor behind me, but if I turn it off, the computer goes, "Oh yeah, you've turned off your monitor, so now I can do other things." And I don't want to risk the show having another glitch. Put too much water in that. I've heard of that Danny. He's cool. He has an awesome YouTube show. You've heard of him? Oh. I see what you're saying. You're trying to be funny again. Clearly, my humour bone's not engaging today. Okay, here we go. Let's spin him around. Maybe I should shape my corks. Well, that's gone on rather well. It's nice when it works, isn't it, eh? Now I could do all of this by dry brushing. I just wanted to move away from the dry brushing technique. I was personally using it as a lazy maneuver, and I needed to improve my own painting skills. So yeah, while I could do dry brushing on this bit, I wanted to paint the scheme in. Did I buy the clear rods and ball and socket things for your bugs? No, I haven't yet, but I have found them. I just haven't added to cart, basically. I'm not going to do the magnets, or the ball and socket magnets, on creatures this small, because I'm going to have loads of them. There's no need for it. Unnecessary amount of work, and I'm sure I won't end up using the feature on the table so much. I am going to buy the clear resin rods so that I can have them all at different heights and things, because that'll look really cool. And I will do the ball sockets. Oh, excuse me, hiccups. I'll do the ball and sockets on larger flying creatures, because I think that'll look really good. Just realised that I'm not really in the shot. I'm sorry if I've been out of the edge for a long time. I think it looks pretty cool, doesn't he? Still got to do the highlights and stuff on the gun. I could bring some of these highlights up a bit further here. Yeah, that looks better. I like it. It's cool. Still got to do the stuff here, but more on that after the break, which it's time to definitely move to. Push the push the skewer to the cork so far that I can't get it out. There we go. Cool. You can go there for a minute. Oh, it's so hot in here today. Right. At least it's a way of keeping the heat up through the winter. Turn the monitor on in the background. Oh. Anyway, look, I'm going to take 10 minutes to go and see what the cat wants from me. Hopefully he won't get into the studio because that's what he's trying to do. When I come back, I'm going to leave doing the painted one for a minute and I go back to the other one because I want to get some yellow on him and I want to really focus on getting those wings done because I think it'll be really awesome to have a play around and experiment with a different shade on that flesh colour. So that's what I'm going to do when I come back. And then I can let that dry, and in between drying times what I'm going to do is come back to the other one, finish off the gun on there. I'm going to do some bone colours on him, pick up the teeth, pick up the eyes, and then I think he's done. I haven't got a base for him. I do want to do bases for him. If you look on the other screen here, I've got the little clear plastic base. I'm not going to have the actual base bit itself as clear. I'm going to do like normal texture stuff on them because I want them all to kind of fit in. I'm going to remove this plastic stem with probably some side cutters because nippers aren't good enough. Also, my nippers don't work very well anymore. And then I'm going to get some clear plastic or clear resin rods like we were just talking about to put in place. These ones are tapered, so they go back worked up to probably about 2 or 3 mil up here, and then down to about 5 mil at the base. And I'm just trying to like work out the right measurements. These come with a tiny little pin on the top that has actually been lost here, cut away, that slots inside the Tyranid. On here you can see there's like a little hole just in here. And it's just about getting the right measurement, because all the rods that are out there are not tapered, so it's about finding that happy medium. If I get a diameter that's too big to go into the Tyranid, then I've got to start drilling them all out. I will do that. I just want to make sure that I get a close enough fit without it being too thin, because if I put them down hard on the table, they'll shatter or break, etc. So I'm thinking 2.5 millimeters. They seem to be in 1.5, 2.5, so on and so forth. And they all seem to be from Green Stuff Weld. So go and have a little look if you're interested in clear resin rods for your stuff. Anyway, gonna go away for a break. Be away for about 10 minutes. In the meantime, go change your paint water. You know you need to. See ya. Jazz flute. And welcome back to the show. I had to go and feed the cat because he was just outside really making a fuss, so I didn't change my paint mortar, but it's okay, it's only got one colour in it so far. You had to go give him some treats and chucked him a catnip stick and he's all happy now. I had to open up the window, so in the background you might hear a dog barking. I live right next door to a very small park. People go walking their dogs up there. There's literally a dog giving it some beans out there right now. So if you can hear them, really sorry. The computer monitor's on in the background. Breaking so many windows and so many rules today. Yeah, so while I was away, what I did do is I just sprayed up the other gargoyle, so he's all in yellow. Now just waiting for him to dry. Almost done. It's that warm in here. And then I'm just going to put some white or some off-white. I bought some new one the other day, some Screaming Skulls, a great colour. It's got a great pigment, really good for getting white colours onto things. And then I'm going to go over with some elf flesh. Once I've done that elf flesh, what I've got here is a contrast paint. This is Gilliman's Flesh. There's a lot of sounds coming out of me today. It feels weird. And hey, doggy woggy woof bark bark. Weirdo. You know, he's really giving it some beans. Yeah, not really into contrast paints. I've tried to give them a go. I think that they're almost holding me back in terms of me wanting to improve my painting. But they might have some uses here and there. So I keep them on hand because you never know. I do like the Basilicanum Grey, which everyone knows is probably from me now that I use it on all my silvers because it kind of gives a really good metally tone. Just wanted to give it a go because, you know, it might be a really good use for it. The reason for it is that on this yellow, the yellow colour that I've got, when I put the washes onto the leathery colour wings, is that it almost looks like the yellow blends away a little bit too much. To make them stand out on the one that I have painted here, what I did was just went over with some yellow paint. So I got the brush version of the same colour, so airbrush, normal brush. So it's thicker, and basically I went over just kind of picked out the edges of them, and that seems to have done the trick. But I'm just wondering if I don't need to do that, and does this colour, is it a better colour for those leathery wings? So you want me to find out as I have a go. I've got lots of different colour combinations that I could try out, but what's going to happen is decision paralysis. I'm just going to sit here just trying to make, you know, one thing work when actually the first one worked. So, you know, sometimes you just got to say shut up and off you go. Don't like my phone being in the shot, so I'm just going to push that out the side over there. Much more professional, thank you so much. Anyway, welcome back to the show. It's been a bit of a rough start to this show. If you've managed to make it this far, thank you so much. I really do appreciate all the viewers that come along and support, live or in retrospect. We're getting some great view counts on some of the videos, so I hope that you find something that you like at Easy 8 if you're new to it. If you are new and you do like what we do, please do consider subscribing. That jumped up very quickly. That's a bit weird. Normally that fades in. I'm having a lot of technical problems today. But yeah, if you do like what we do, push that subscribe button. Maybe push the bell icon so you get a notification if something goes wrong like it did today and I have to start a new video. It will tell you, it'll go like, hey, Easy 8's doing a new show. Click on that little alert and it'll take you straight to the new video. If you do really like what we do, thumbs up would really go a long way as well. So thank you very much for your ongoing support. Let's watch this graphic. Does it fly away now? Is it gonna? Is it gonna? Oh, it did. I'm gonna push it again. Oh, it just glitched. Whatever. Subscribe, it would be really helpful. Thank you very much. Anyway, going to go back to the workbench because we've got some painting to get on with. How are your projects going on this evening? Are you having a good time? Is it you having an easy day of it? Because I'm struggling, if I'm honest. Anyway, cool, whatevs. Let's go back to this bad boy for a minute. So I just want to finish off the plates on his gun. He's got a couple of tubes and pipes. I wonder if you can see those. And you see that like coming around the back of the hand here. So here's the gun. Yeah, it's got this kind of pipe tube thing here. It's got a little eye on there. It's going to be quite tough to paint. And it's also got some like weird venting thing going on here. Yeah, I'm going to see if I can get all that painted. There's a few creases and things on them. So just going to paint that Screaming Skull. Nice off-white colour. All the bone, I'll do another coat on there. I think that's probably where I should start. No, do you know what I'm going to do? First things first, I'm going to finish off the gun because then all the grey is done, right? Right, that's the idea here. So, I'm going to go in with some Administratum Grey because that's the highlight grey that I was using. Don't stab yourself on the skewer that's pointing up in the air now. Here we go. Don't think I'm going to need much of this one. Pop a little bit there. A tiny amount of water in the brush because I've only got a tiny amount of paint. Jez posted pics of what I've done today on Easy8 Facebook. Do you know what? As I was quiet there, I was literally just thinking about that because I always like to think ahead and think of things to say. They are looking absolutely stunning. Nice 3D prints. Very, very good. New weapon options for all the tanks and things that you've got. They are looking really, really good. And I'd like to commission your efforts. And I will explain why in a minute. If it looks like I've forgotten, I probably have. Do remind me once I've finished painting these little grey bits here. I'm just painting some highlights on these little plates here. Gonna get the cork back on there because it's much easier to hold. Oh, there we go, that's better. Now, normally I do like lines on these plates. If I zoom in a little bit, there we go. I normally do lines on these plates, like from the edge, kind of going in. But this has like two edges, as we're normally like one edge is covered up, right? So I've never really known how to make it look really good on a plate that's got all these open edges. My paint's dried already, that's infuriating. I forgot about the Dragon's Teeth Dave asked about, need to remember those. Yeah, really, really simple print idea and would be great for all those 15mm tank games. They come on bases, you get like a whole cluster of them, and you're absolutely right, it would look really good. And like I was saying the other day off the show, you could just make one set, and it'd be very easy to make a press mold of them, so you could just make as many as you wanted really easily without having to waste all your printer time, you know. Oh, I think I need a bit more water in my brush. It's really hard to maintain the perfect mix of water, paint, and this is exactly what John was saying a minute ago. Get your wet palette out. Some more paint. Just get on with it, Danny. Jeff says, almost finished a big spooky house tower thing for a Frostgrave customer. Need to do something other than just the giant builds. Yeah, you need to have several things going at the same time, don't you? I just saw the picture during the break as well of the little Buddha temple thing. Hey, do you know, I'll have a proper good look in a minute. It's a quick glance, but it looks really, really cool. Well done. Hopefully a moist brush this time will do the job. There we go. Probably went too far there. It's so hard to get these little tiny details in behind such massive wings. Do you know what? That'll do. That's really hard. Okay, cool. Whatever. Moving on. Right. I'm going to let that dry for a second. Cool. I'm going to move quickly over to the other one because I want to get some. I might only just do one wing. You know, I don't think there's need to do too much here. I'm going to go to some Screaming Skull. Going to give that a little bit of a shake, a little bit of a waz. There we go. It's a really nice colour. I've always liked those off-whites as well. I've always called them antique white because they used to be an off-white colour from an old craft paint range called Anita's Paints, if anyone's ever interested. And they're like 99p a bottle, and you get like a big bottle, you know. And realised my fingers weren't shot. Like a big bottle. And I always remember the off-white colour being called antique white, and it was just one of my favourites. And I remember doing like this, you know, back in the day, doing all my scrolls and things and teeth and whatnot. So I've always liked those kind of antique white colours. Okay, I've mixed a bit of water in there. I'm going to go to a larger size brush. I'm going to go to my number 2 because I actually had quite a lot of control with the larger brush last week for this little task. Mind you, saying that the wings were a different shape, so it might be a completely useless size to go in now. So really, really yellow, isn't it? Waz, you're welcome. So, Kez, I think I specifically remember asking you to remind me. I would like you, and I have the files for these, and of course I will pay you the money. I would like you to print me these off in resin. I use an FDM printer, and as you can see, it leaves lots of lines in it. That's the nature of printing. I've been using all sorts of like resins and fillers and things over this to try and fill it in, and it's lost all the fidelity. It looks awful, and I can't achieve the quality that I would like. So if you would be so inclined, between you and Leslie, who share that printer, would like to print me some of those, I would be very appreciative, and of course I would pay for the resin that I use, only if you have the time for it, of course. You might be in the middle of printing all your own stuff. But yes, I was thinking about buying some like filler epoxy resin from Benham or Bentley. But it's just very expensive, when actually you could probably just get the resin printed. So if you'd be interested in helping me out, of course I would appreciate that. I understand, however, that you might not want to. You might be like, no, go get your own printer. I totally respect that as well. Yeah, me and Les can do that for you. Thanks, Giz. I will stop going on about it. Bit of water in the old brush is getting quite tacky. There we go. Stands out quite a bit, that colour, doesn't it? Kez already answered. I should read things before I post, but yes, no problem. Is free from myself for the next 2 weeks, so not a problem at all. Thank you so much. Yes, you also, like me, I tend not to read things when I should and end up having to unnecessarily explain myself. But no, I really appreciate that. That'd be great. Thank you very much. I will sort you out with the files very soon. It's a multi-set file, so everything is because there are lots of different designs, and they're all together in this big bundle, and you can just choose which ones you want. And I'll come at you with a list of which ones I want. So I think it will make a nice contribution to my army, to have matching terrain, because that's what Tyranids do, right? And the quality of the prints is absolutely fantastic. FDM printing's got its uses, but I do not think that it is fit for making terrain or models. It's just not that way. Anyway, I've just painted that on there. I'm just going to leave that. I'm just going to do that one side of that one, top part of that wing. I don't need to do any more. It's just an experiment today. So I'm going to wash the brush off there. I'm going to go back in with that same colour on the other one and just redefine all the claws and horns and things that are on there. So yeah. Jeff says, had to paint a GW Wizard years ago, had to be all white Gandalf style. I think it was the hardest paint job I ever did. White robes, white beard, and pale skin. Must admit, it was a struggle. Is that with like all the different sort of whites and off-whites and things like that? Stafford made it back. Hi, thanks for coming back. I'm glad you made it. 2 appearances tonight, 3 if you count the failed show. Thank you very much. Hey, Staff. It sounds it, buddy. Yeah, white is... Do you know, I've not done an awful lot in white. When I first started painting my Space Marines, I did them all in these really weird orange colours, and they were really cool back in day. And I used to paint all their vehicles white because, me and my dad were talking about, that in space movies, spacecrafts all seem to be white, and he's absolutely right. It's true. Millennium Falcons is a type of white, or the Star Destroyers, they're all white, right? Or they're grey. Very close. Just a lot of things were white. Space Odyssey, 2001 Space Odyssey, it's all white. Everything that's in space is all white because easy to see, I suppose, isn't it? So I was like, well, I'll paint them all white. And it was really, really difficult. But I've been told that the contrast paints for white are very, very good. And they're basically a type of grey. And as the paint kind of runs and pools, it builds up that grey. But when it's thin and over a larger flat surface, it's white. Tidying up my bench there. Okay, back to the gargoyle. Number 1. Just gonna get a little bit of water on my brush there. Okay, you know, a bit more than that. Okay, probably using an excessively large size brush there. Let's be sensible. Go back to the other one. Now, it looks like that we're about 15, maybe 10 minutes away from the end of the show. That's not the truth. So especially if you're just tuning in, or maybe if you're watching back on replay later on, the beginning of the show was just a problem child. So that's probably like a really offensive thing to say. I apologise, I shouldn't say that. It was just being a real problem of a show. And I end up having to knock about 15, maybe 20 minutes off of the show. So I'm going to go on for a little bit longer than normal. Normally I would try to finish around about 9 or close to. So I'm going to just move on to probably about 9:15-ish, seeing where, how I feel at that time, seeing where we're at with the painting, and see if I can just draw it to a natural end. But I'm not going to finish at 9, basically. Got a bit of work to do. So, got all the claws and bony bits sticking off of this bad boy. Little finger bones at the end of the wings. Sure that they're all nice and defined and all nice and neat. Once again, I'm not right in the middle of the show, in the screen, middle of the show. Welcome to Easy 8, where I never say the right thing. Let's see what the guys are saying here. White Space Marines, Stormtrooper helmets. Nah, Spaceball helmets. There were no contrast paints back then, just mix your own. Yeah, you're absolutely right, that was the case. Ooh, an idea, says Staff. Have a 10-man Primaris squad, but have one old-style Marine to have a short one. Yeah. The camera really didn't want to know, but it's behaving now. Was it being a bit tetchy? I don't know what it is about this camera. It's a feisty one. Yeah, who knows? Is it jumping around a little bit, or is it? I don't know. Staff says I can't do Spaceballs. I'd be surrounded by aren't you a bit small to be a Space Marine? Yeah, we're all a bit small to be a Space Marine. Okay, so what I'm going to do here, I'm going to see if I can get a nice fine point on this dodgy little paintbrush. I'm very self-aware of my camera now. Like I want to keep my eye on it and make sure it's not jumping around too much. The details on the side of the gun here, I'm going to paint in this off-white colour. So we've got this little venti thing on the side of the gun. You'll see that there? I could be doing a little bit more water. What I'm going to do is I'm going to hit it with the crimson shade that John and I were talking about earlier on. And yeah, basically it's going to hit it with that red colour, and it'll just filter that off-white colour, and it'll run in between all the creases and things, and it'll just make it look like it's got components, I suppose. Paint in this little tube at the back here as well. And I'm going to do that the same colour as well. I mean, the whole thing is organic, but it's going to make it look like it's got organic components, if you like. You know, like internal bits, probably. Probably a better way of explaining it. I'm going to have to go to the really teeny tiny brush, because there's some very teeny tiny details in there. Where is it? There it is. I do like the colours of the gargoyle. Gargoyle, such a hard word to say. Gargoyle, truly amazing. Thank you very much. Remember, you don't have to be mad to enjoy the show, but it definitely helps. Yeah, or just bad. Bad at doing it. I'm so sorry. I have fun though, and that's all that matters, I think. It's got an eye on it. I'm going to paint that too. There we go. I don't know if you can see what I'm painting. No, you absolutely can't, because it's underneath the wings. But there's a lot of details on the hands and on the arms. All the joints on a Tyranid. Elbows, wrists, knees. You know, they're all like exposing these little areas that are crying out for an extra colour to break up the monotony of yellow. So I paint them in this off-white colour, often painting around the edges like I've just done there, so I have to go in and clean that up a second. There we go, that's nice. And then I just go in with the crimson colour. The crimson colour just makes it look like a sort of a brain matter colour. Just kind of makes it, just breaks it up. I just like it. It's nice and easy to do. I don't have to think too much about it. And yeah. Makes it look like it's just different from the rest of the yellow. Getting somewhere. Almost done now. Keep slipping out of the shot, out of the frame. So sorry. You are not bad. I think your painting is bloody brilliant. Thank you very much. That's a very generous thing to say, and apparently Leslie agrees. Well, thank you very much, gentlemen. I agree with Stafford. An organic venti thing? Yeah, it's got... I don't know how to explain it, but if I've got a bigger Tyranid here, I'll show you in a minute. They just got like these little lines, little gaps on there, little details on their arms. A little organic venti thing. And I think it looks like exposed muscle fibres and stuff, you know? You know? Do you know? I just missed everything there and painted all up the inside of his arm. I've just got to clean that up. It's the problem when you've got an already, you know, pre-built model. You have to try and get into all the, you know, the hard to reach areas and nooks and crannies, and you just run the risk of smearing paint all over the bits that you don't want it smeared all over. But I think I've saved that. Good recovery. So, that's done. I'm going to paint his tongue. And his teethies. And at the moment, this is all just kind of primer, really. Just cutting back through that yellow colour. And hopefully in a minute I'll be able to go in there with some other colours. I've never really truly honed in on a proper colour for the tongues of my Tyranids. But I think like a nice stark red will show up nicely, cut through all the yellow. I was trying to do some like really cool purples and blues and things, but it just doesn't work. So I think a nice stunning red. Go, see all those details in there. He does have an eye, so let's see if I can get a little dot of colour in there. Smeared. Yeah, you heard me. I basically got my brush, stuck it in through between his arms, went all over it. Bit for his eye there. I don't really mind if I get like the whole eye socket when there is like an eye that is a raised detail, because when I go in with a slightly watered down paint, it might it will kind of run all over that colour, and then I can go in with like a non-oil and just go around the outside, and it makes that, it's like eyeliner, it really makes that colour stand out. Anyway, that's enough of doing that colour for a second. Can you not come up with a sci-fi bug part name? I think I did when I said a venti thing on its venti thing on its bum. What did I say? An organic venti thing. Or a bum. Yeah, it's just covered in sphincters and anuses. There we go. Made me say anus on the show. Well done. Right, quickly over to the other one. So, some elf skin tone. Give it a shake. Give it a waz. Give it another shake. Back to the big brush. To the other Tyranid. I'm not going to water this down, it doesn't really need it at all because it's an airbrush paint. Now what I'm going to do, now that I'm thinking about it, is I'm going to do 2 panels with this colour, and I'm going to leave 2 panels, the bony sort of colour, and see what the difference is between the 2 of them. We are so easy to please. Sphincter. It's always been at the back of my mind. Eventually, one day, the community will have its own sense of humour, its own character, and I will no longer be able to control it. Okay, I'll do 3 because there's a big one there. I'm just interested to see what it's going to look like. Cool. Right, put that one over there for a second. We'll come back to him again in a minute. Let's get some crimson. Really like the colour of this crimson. It's just a pain trying to use it. Ooh. Oh, I dropped it. Lucky I wasn't opening that. Oh, God. Wearing beige shorts as well. Right. Gonna go to the teeny tiny brush. Crimson. Carabao crimson. This is going to go on all the organic venti things underneath in here. Got lots of details all over his arms and whatnot. And all I'm doing is just, with a brush loaded of this colour, just touching it down into the area that I want it to go in. Not letting it pour over the edges of the detail, but filling it up. Letting it sit in there for a minute. It starts to dry quite quickly. That's the pain in the backside with this particular colour. It dries really fast, and that is what I think has given the coffee ring effect when I'm doing it on the wings. But I'm kind of taking advantage of that speedy drying process here. Let it dry, and then I come in with a slightly reduced amount on the bristles, so the brush is now going to pull the excess paint away. Touch it into an area there, and it lifts it out, and then I can control the amount of paint that goes into these areas. And now it all looks like soft pink fleshy bits and organic venti things. So is it a weaponized sphincter? All of the Tyranid guns are weaponized sphincters. If that makes you feel happy, that is the actual law, and they do use the word sphincter a lot in their stuff as well. Its movements are lethal. Don't give it a curry. Yeah, I think they're worse than that though. Plus 10 inches of plus 10 inches to movement, right? Accelerated curry motions. One thing I will say about this shade is once you put it down, it likes to stay in the area. It doesn't run around so much in the smaller amounts. It's quite a sticky paint. So where you put it is where it stays, which is quite good. Washes don't normally do that. Or run around all over the place, you know. I'll take a photo of this little fella at the end so that you can better see, because I know that the focus at the moment isn't right, and I do keep leaning out of the shot. I am aware of that. If I pull the zoom back a little bit, it might be easier to stay in there. But you'll be able to see all these little details. I'll get in there with some close-up shots and stuff, so you can see exactly what I meant when I'm saying the things like organic venti thing. So I cannot help myself. I've bought a Redemptor Dreadnought and a Leviathan Dreadnought. Yeah, you've got problems. I think you found the level of the group. Because you need help. I really do. But it's okay, Les is celebrating it. For your Griblies to eat, Leslie. Got to add more to that pile of shame. Not let it run out. No, do you know what? If you did, then kind of easy 8's over, really, isn't it? We don't want that. Yeah, you've got a problem, mate. I mean, been feeding the beast inside at the moment, because just today, as we were talking about just before the show went live earlier, the Games Workshop have just released their Legends list. A Legends list, for those of you that don't know, is a list of old characters and vehicles, basically units that they don't make the models for anymore, or they stopped kind of talking about them in the lore and things. But they know that people still have their models and they kind of want to do things for them. They just don't pay an awful lot of attention to them. They don't release more stuff for them, for sure, and they probably will never make new models for them. And I know that Kez's Space Marines are the Red Scorpions, and because they were formerly a Forge World army, that they don't do anything with them anymore, since Forge World is now not really a thing. And I know that might come as a shock to some people, but yeah, Forge World, while you can still buy the Forge World models at the moment, I don't think Forge World is anything anymore. Sad, right? Cool. Right, that's all those organic venti things done. I'm going to quickly move on to some Seraphim Sepia, and I'm going to do the bony parts of all of those bone-white colours that I was just putting on there. I'm going to start with the tail, because it's a nice big claw, and if I get it wrong, it's a nice big space to practice on there. Now on bigger claws, what I've done in the past is I've applied a liberal application of Seraphim, and then I like to go in with a little bit of Agrax Earthshade towards the area that it is attached to the creature on, and it just kind of helps define the colours and things. Then I'll come back in a little bit later on and I'll do a little bit of dry brushing or highlighting towards the pointier ends and the bladed areas of those bones, claws, or whatever they are, and it really makes them pop really, really good. So this one is a slightly runnier version of a wash. There's where the crimson was quite a sticky one, so this one will run all over the place. So as I'm moving the model around, just got to keep an eye on everything that I've done so far. My concentration voice again, I know, but you know what? I can't always be talking, right? we've got about 10 to 15 minutes left of the show. And do you know what? Since we managed to get the show back on track, it's not been a bad one. Feel quite productive actually. Got a load done over here, and you know, experimenting with another model on the side as well. So that's going well. And I've never painted a gargoyle before, and it's nice to see it all coming together. I really, really like it. Just gonna get some colour on here. Now, Seraphim Sepia really does make the off-white colour look like it's yellow, and if I'm doing little tiny spikes like I'm doing right now, they can blend away very easily into a yellowy sort of nothingness. So what I'm going to do is I'm just trying to like add a little bit of definition to the bottoms of the spikes against the yellow there, and I'm going to come back in later on and probably just repaint them all off-white again. Just wanted to be seen doing something to them. Oh, I've just realised I've missed some things on his arms up here. More organic, venty things and little muscles or tendons and things. I'll come back to those later. But I think, and I hope you agree, that he's starting to look pretty darn good. I'm happy with him. Right, let's close that one up for a minute. Right, here we go. So we've got the fleshy colour here on the wings. On my screen, it's very hard to tell the difference between the bony sort of colour and the fleshy colour, but there is a difference there. You can see it. And now I'm going to apply this contrast paint. I do get a bit nervous about contrast paints because when it goes on, like the crimson shade, which it shouldn't do, but it does start to dry almost immediately. So if you over manipulate it with a brush, it starts to dry, you'll start tearing it and dragging it, and then the effect will not be nice. Gonna give it a waz. And while I'm doing that, I'm gonna have a little look at some of the comments that are going in because I'm well behind. Tyranids need more nom nom noms, even though Kez has been winning the battle so far. Still, Tyranids need some nom noms. They do. The Great Devourer. Kez's Chaos Marines. They are not Chaos, you mutated angels. Or, okay, we're getting into the lore now. Blood for the Emperor. Think of the wonders, think of the power, think of the sphincter. We're going to a dark place now, guys, aren't we? Really, come on. Pretty sure that's the whole Torn of the Galaxy by the Slanesh and Herber. Doesn't the Emperor get tons of blood given to him daily by the mass murdering thousands of innocent psychers? Millions. Gun Butt. That's a good name. Not very sci-fi, but it works. Gun Butt it is. Raveners, which are the smaller snake-like creatures, they don't have gun barrels, which I've never liked on Tyranids, by the way. I don't like them looking like guns, but they have like a big opening sphincter on their chest that fires out things at close range. So yeah, they've got like a proper chest bum. Okay, to the number 2 brush. Here is my Gilliman's Flesh contrast paint. Gonna get a brush load. Make sure that I haven't got too much on there. And now here we go. So, not worried about getting it on the yellow. Really, I can always go back over that. What I'm interested in is the effect it has filtering the colours beneath it. Okay, I need a larger amount here. I think, there we go. Now with a clean brush, come in and start dabbing up some of the heavier spots on there. This is one of the reasons why I don't really like contrast paint. You've got a very short space of time to control it. I think I prefer the Seraphim, you know. That's it's a hard paint to use. It's a contrast paint. You can see here that it's starting to dry already, and where I've kind of gone over with a second streak, it is not the same. I think I'm gonna stay with the Seraphim. That was a very quick experiment. It took a long time to get there. Like the fact that it runs into the edges. I like to see how that definition, you know, works. I might use that, but otherwise, nope. God, it's on my thumb and it's sticky. Gun butt, chest bum. Right, on that marvellous tone of the show, I must depart now, says Leslie. Thank you again for an awesome show. Take care, everyone. Thanks, mate. Cheers. Take care and have a lovely week, won't you? I will try and catch you at some point, Leslie, to talk about prints. But it's obviously a printer share between you and Kez. If I don't speak to you, then I can always speak to Kez. Thank you very much. Right, back to this one. Yeah, I much preferred that Seraphim colour. Just looks yellowy. Maybe I'll try Seraphim over just normal white, see what happens. The gun is looking cool. It's the teeth and the tongue now. So what I want to try and do, I don't have a colour for this. I don't have a watery red. I've got Volupus Pink, which is a terrible colour. That's a contrast. So I've got Bloody Red. So I could paint the tongue red and then do a dark violet wash over it. That would be interesting. I'm going to do it. I want the red to stand out against the yellow, you know, of the rest of the creature. Jeff says that's nice, but like the other one. Yeah, me too. Me too. Ooh, claws were stuck on the polystyrene of the thingy there and nearly ruined everything. Cool. Okay, so I've got a nice white base in here, going in with some red. Doesn't matter if I get it on the teeth, because I can always pick those out a little bit later. Now on a gargoyle, they never used to carry their weapons like this one is here. These are flesh borers. It's a very standard gaunt weapon. It's one of my favourites in terms of, you know, the narrative, what it's supposed to do. It's a horrible little, they're all horrible, their guns, but yeah, I just like it. It's really interesting idea. But they used to have just this blinding venom is what it's called. You spit an acid spray at you basically. And they've basically got like a tube-like tongue. So their tongue sticks out, and if you could see quite clearly on here, which is a little bit out of focus, isn't it? But basically it's got like a funnel for a tongue, and yeah, it still has. So now gargoyles have weapon choices. That stands out now, doesn't it? That's a good colour. Perhaps it's too red. Nah. I don't want any part of it to look too cartoonish. I know that the colour scheme was quite cartoonish, but you know, everything else looks quite toned down. And at the moment, that red really stands out. But that's fine at the moment. You know, that's okay. It will soften off with a wash on there. Okay, the last thing I'm going to do on this show tonight is the purple. So here's a horrible paint colour to use. This has ruined a lot of my things, not because I've painted it on there and the colour was awful, just that the paint was never fully sealed one day. Someone in the house knocked it over and it went over everything, and it's kind of congealed and stuff in the bottom. I just don't use enough of it to warrant buying another one, but Drutchy Violet, it's all over my airbrush compressor and everything, and it just does not come off with anything, not even alcohol. So I'm going to put a little bit of this on that red tongue, and I'm hoping that this as a colour will really tone that red down and add some definition to it and make it stand out as a thing on the rest of the model. So that paint on there is already dry. Load up the brush. Here we go. Another one of those paints that wants to run around everywhere, so I've really got to try and control it. I think the red's too red. That's the first thing I'm noticing here. I might have to go to like a bit of a crimson-y colour, perhaps. Yeah, far too red, far too red. Worth a go though. Crimson, I think, will probably be a better thing. It looks like it's got tramp lips. But you know, sometimes you've got to give these things a shot. Cool, right, let's put him there. I'm going to carry on for a little bit after the show in a minute, but we are at the end of this evening. So, Jeff says, suppose if you think of an animal colours, a black bat has black wing skin, so the yellow colour should work. Yeah, that kind of was at the back of my head when I was painting, you know, like the colours are just a sort of a more muted tone of, no, sorry, a slightly more translucent tone of the rest of their body, aren't they? So the fact that it looks yellowy, I'm not actually all that bothered by it. You know, when you just have like a vision of what it's going to look like in your head before you even start it, this wasn't that close to that vision, but I do like it, and I'll get better. The idea is to perfect this so that I've got an out-of-production Forge Weld winged hive tyrant that's got like a really big wingspan. It's a beautiful model, and I just want to do it. I just want to do it justice, you know. So the idea is to get good at it so that I can go in and paint that one. Anyway, we're going to come away from here. Oh, what an evening! What a rough start to a show. But a cracking evening, though. I know that I said I was going to finish that gargoyle today, but there's been a few complications on the show, and I think I can excuse myself for not having finished it. That's okay. It's going to be finished tonight. I'm going to go to Discord in a minute, and I'm going to finish it over there. So if you want to join me at the end of the show, come and have a little chat. You join me on the Easy 8 After Party on Discord. There's a link to all of our platforms down there, including Discord. If it's your first time in the Discord, to actually join us in the chat, you need to go... It tells you there's like a little screen to go to, and just push the thumbs up button or like any of the little emojis in there, and it's just a way of Discord recognizing that you're not a bot scammer or something like that, and then you can come on over. I think even you could just do it anyway. You can just kind of come over and have a chat with us. You can type, you can just sit there and listen to us. You can talk to us on the microphone, or you can do a video call, whatever you like. And yeah, at the end of the show, it's quite nice to sit there and have a chit chat with you guys, talk about the problems and the successes that you guys have had in painting your projects. And you can tell me what you think face to face about the stuff that I've been doing this evening, and I really do value all the feedback that you guys give me. It really helps me make some informed choices, because if you haven't noticed, one of the things I really struggle with is sticking to something or deciding something. I like to play around with all the sort of different colour combos and find that perfect thing, but actually the pursuit of perfection, it doesn't exist. There is no such thing as perfection, and I just believe in striving for excellence, and that's always in here. And I go like, I'm just going to try this one more thing, No, Danny, you know what works, stick with it, carry on. Don't go off piste. Get your stuff painted. That's what this show's all about. So yeah, Jeff saying it looks good, Kez saying it looks good. Thank you very much. I really appreciate that. I am fast at this. I think this is something that I can definitely knock on all of the other gargoyles. I just need to get a little bit more confident at painting the grey carapace on the top. But they're small models, and I just need to learn to stop being so precious about the smaller ones. And when it comes to the bigger ones, because I've got a couple of big winged creatures, so once I've done these, I'm going to go into a harpy. I think it's the harpy. It's the airplane version, if you like. And I'm going to have a go at that one, and it's got wings like, you know, this big, and that'll be really good. And I might even be able to start doing like veins and things, and if I do those in a translucent colour or go over them with a more translucent wash, it'll make it look like those veins are underneath the skin. I saw that as like a little thing that someone had done on a Facebook photo, and it looked really cool. I definitely need to change that red, because that is some lipstick stuff going on right there, and I'm going to do that over on Discord. The last things to finish on here, I've got to do some dry brushing on the claws, I've got to do the eyes and finish off that tongue, and then this little beastie is done, and I'll be so happy with that. Once it is done, I'm going to take some photos and I'll stick them over on Instagram and on Facebook. And again, you can find us on all of those platforms in the links in the description just down there. If you like what we've been doing here and you want to chat with us, you want to communicate with us, then by all means write things down in the comments. I read and respond to everything. I've got the time of the day for that. Might take me a couple of days to get to you sometimes, but I do. You can find me over on Facebook. I love seeing all the stuff on Facebook. It's probably our most well used, well trafficked platform that we've got outside of the YouTube shows. We're also on Discord. Put stuff up there as well. There's loads of different things that you can put photos and stuff up on Discord as well, and I'd love to have you join the party over there too. Anyway, I'm not even going to take a break. Normally I have like a little break before I go over the Discord, but I've got the little windows open in here. There's a nice little through breeze going on, and I'm just keen to finish this model, and that's what I'm going to do this evening. Thank you for bearing with me while I've had all the technical issues in the whole world last week and this week. I think they're just both anomalies and they're just close together. It's just a coincidence. I'm so sorry for making it unprofessional. I'm going to try and tidy this video up later on in post-production, and just try and put the thumbnail and stuff at the front of it, so it's just not a random video. Thank you for finding me. Please, if you like what we do, I've lost my little thing. If you like what we do, please do like, share, subscribe, follow us on all the platforms that are relevant to you. Tell a friend about Easy 8, because you know we just want the community to grow. It's a lovely little a bunch of painters, hobbyists and stuff that we got going on, and the community is growing, and it only grows with your interaction. So please do talk about it at work, talk about it to a friend, go tell your family, whatever. Hit the little thumbs up button, hit the bell icon over there, and subscribe. Anyway, enough of all this. It's been a lovely evening. Thank you very much for your company. Desperately trying to find the buttons and everything, make it all work. I've had a lovely evening, so thank you very much. Until next week, stay safe, be kind, keep on painting, and I'll see you soon. Take care now. Bye-bye. Normally there's a little bit of sound effects and some music there. I'll definitely have to that. I'll just let this little drum beat play out. You can have that for a second. Boop, 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 boop.